I often hold a debate about whether you're British, whether you're English, whether you're Scottish, Welsh, Northern Ireland. And, it's always interests me to see how people think, how people feel about their own existence, their own nationality, their own origins. Some people who are born in England will say, well, I'm born in England, but I got Scottish parents, so I got a bit of both. Or they'll say, I was born in Scotland, I'm Scottish and British. They go on about things like that. One of the things that's very important to understand before you go and look at anything else, we have a common law jurisdiction in England, which covers Wales, it covers Northern Ireland, and by claim of right, Scotland as well. These are inalienable rights given to you by your ancestors that cannot be taken away in theory. But unfortunately, they are being taken away by successive governments that subvert the original constitution by overlaying and amending things as you go over the years with bad law after bad law after bad law after bad law. And you get a whole crescendo. I'm England. Born in England, I'm English. I'm English till I die. End of story. The very big problem with England is this right here, and this is going on for years. This is an EU construct, really, and it's called regionalisation. They've already done it in Scotland, they've already done it in Wales, and they've already done it in Northern Ireland. That's where the term regional assemblies comes from, regional assemblies. And what you find is that police forces have been messed around with, local councils have been messed around with, and you have a regional assembly instead of a parliament. So, in other words, the illusion of self-governance is there. There's no governance at all. And if you have a look at England here, you've got 9 regions and, particular emphasis on London. We've got the London Assembly. So London has already been regionalised. And then you've got South East. You look at the map of all those councils talking about cancelling elections, Southwest and all the rest of it. It's not a good situation. If we allow this to happen, we will lose all of those inalienable rights that I just referred to. England, to me, is represented by this cross, the St. George's Cross. And quite often you hear the lefties turn around and say, hang on a minute, your patron saint never set foot in England. He was Turkish. Yeah, I've heard it all. At the end of the day, these are people that were born in England and seem to be ashamed of England. It's a bit disgusting, isn't it? What about how other cultures understand or look at the flag of this country? Have a listen to this geezer.
We are not going anywhere. This is our country. We are here to stay. We are settlers. And also, I would like to point out that some people said, what about the crucifix on the English flag? And it's Crusader history. Well, I responded, if you place a white flag with just England written on that flag, there is no reason in Sharia Islamic law why that would be forbidden. So you are permitted to place a white flag with England written on it without the crucifix. We are not going anywhere. This is our country. We are here to stay. We are settlers. And also, I would like to point out that some people said, what about the crucifix on the English flag? And it's Crusader history. Well, I responded, if you place a white flag with just England written on that flag, there is no reason in Sharia Islamic law why that would be forbidden. So you are permitted to place a white flag with England written on it without the crucifix.
So you heard what he said. I played it twice for you there, so you took it in. You can't have an England flag with a crucifix on, he called it, because it's against Sharia law. Do you know that according to England's own constitution, Sharia law would be completely unlawful, that we've got this cropping up all over the country? And I've got no idea about the background of this fella, but he thinks that, they come in, they stay, which is one thing, but then they turn around and decide that, well, we have to change for them. It doesn't work that way. You have to integrate with us, and that includes the flag. But you see, he's demanding, you can't have your England flag. And he talks about, the history of crusades and all the rest of it. And there are other flags around the world which have, that red St. George cross element as part of it. Look at Alberta in Canada. That's not on the news. And there's some big things going on there right now. When you finish listening to me, go and Google it. But one thing that this fella doesn't really appreciate, that flag wasn't originally the England flag. I wonder if he knew that. I wonder how many people knew that. The original England flag was this, the Whiffen, a dragon. And then at some stage down the line, it changed into the Cross of St. George, which we have today. So, what would he be happy with? I know what I'd be happy with. Fit in. Could you see us going to other places and saying, don't like your flag, get rid of it? Wouldn't be any good, that, would it? How has this been allowed to happen? I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We have individuals in our parliament that shouldn't be there. We have outside influence in our parliament that shouldn't be there. Generations ago, after the Glorious Revolution, a convention parliament was called, and a series of acts were created. The Bill of Rights, the Act of Settlement, and various others, which were all designed to protect us, the English, from disturbance from outside influence, including what's going on. Now, if I pull up the Act of Settlement, this is very important. I'm going to highlight the relevant text. That said, after the said limitation shall take effect, as aforesaid, no person born out of the kingdoms of England, Scotland, Ireland, or the dominions thereunto belonging, although he be made a denizen, except born of English parents, should be capable to be of the Privy Council or a member of either House, Parliament, or to enjoy any office, state, trust, civil. So what that is basically saying is, if you don't meet certain criteria with regard to your heritage, you can't be an MP, you can't be a member of Parliament or anything of that nature. And I wonder how many of these, problems would have not happened in the first place if this was so, really. Now, what's the problem with the Act of Settlement? A little thing called the British Nationality Act. Now, the British Nationality Act was created, first of all, in 1948, just after the Second World War, and it was designed to effectively reorganise how nationality is dealt with across what was left of the Commonwealth, the British Empire, and remnants of the British Empire after the war. So many people were badged as British or a member of the UK and the Commonwealth, and therefore had the right to come here. Now, one of the big things about the British Nationality Act is, if you're going to change anything, law has to have a hierarchy, has to be at the front of any law if it's major. You can't hide it somewhere down the back, which is, what happened with what I'm about to show you. Now, the British Nationality Act, and I'll put it up on the screen, I'm going to highlight the relevant section. This is Schedule 4. And what you've got here is a list of repeals. In other words, get rid of it. And this is a list of previous acts. So the Act of Settlement, in Section 3, the words "from that after the said limitation shall take effect to in trust for him," so far as relating to British subjects and citizens of air. Get rid of it, repeal it, gone. So then what you have is a situation where everything I described to you are protections in the Act of Settlement with regard to who can be an MP, who can be a councillor, who can run, things of importance, is gone. That and other things in that Act is probably the biggest example of constitutional treason I've ever seen. I'm just a working class geezer that drives a cab, and I can work it out. But as for our friend at the beginning, I think we'll keep our flag. Thank you very much. Read your history. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you soon. Toodaloo.